Sports and Recreation. And it is a very well used, very well known organization that does it, that has provides it to us. We're very lucky to get Sadler Sports. John Sadler is the president of it. He's been in that niche for like 30 years or something, working with everybody you can think of. People know him all over. He's even an attorney. You see his list there. How often do we see that? John, you've been around a long time. Tell me about your career here, will you please?
Well, George, I appreciate the kind words. We're proud of our best in the industry insurance programs, and we're delighted to work with local insurance agents to provide effective and affordable sports and recreation insurance, which is delivered with incredible speed and convenience, as well as our free risk management solutions to help keep the local organizations out of trouble.
You're one of we selected you because there are a lot of organizations that do sponsor sports, but you have a reputation that's unparalleled, and that's why I really feel lucky. And I have to say that at the beginning of this program. So let's go forward. Tell us a little bit about some of these programs.
Well, as you can see from the list, we insure a wide range of sports and recreation organizations, but the majority of our clients fall under amateur, youth, and adult teams and leagues, camps and clinics, and tournament hosts. We also insure health clubs and various types of studios. Now, for the programs listed on this page, the insurance agent can access our amazing instant online quote pay print technology and can literally bind coverage for the local organization and issue certificates of insurance for field and facility owners in as little as 10 minutes. Also note our low minimum premiums.
Look at those premiums. I just can't believe how low they really are. I thought, well, that's interesting. Let's go forward.
Well, George, let me clarify. The premiums can actually be higher than that. Those are the minimum premiums. A lot of our competitors have minimum premiums in the $1,000 or $2,500 range, but the actual premiums are based on the rates, which may be higher, but those are the minimums.
That's pretty low, so good to know. Go ahead.
Okay. So these are some of the other programs that we have. We also insure the types of facilities listed on this page, and we have a simple application form that can be completed in as little as 10 minutes, and we can provide the agent a proposal in as little as 24 to 48 hours turnaround time. Now, for these programs, the minimum premiums are $600, and that's for both the accident and the general liability policies combined.
Well, that's still low. It's very, very low. It's amazing to me. I thought it would be higher.
Okay. So the five basic policy types that are needed by almost every sports and recreation organization are accident, general liability, directors and officers liability, crime, and equipment. But you have to remember that all policies are not created equal, and many of our competitors have dangerous coverage loopholes that can leave you wide open to uncovered claims. So what you want to do is you want to have policies that have limits that are high enough to protect against the worst case scenarios. You also want to avoid policies with dangerous coverage loopholes, which are surprisingly common in the industry, and you also want to add some custom coverage enhancements.
That's fascinating to me because there's so much covered in these things. It's amazing. Let's go forward. I'm learning.
All right. The first policy is the accident policy, which covers medical bills on behalf of injured participants on an excess basis. Now, a participant would be an athlete participant or a staff member. Now, excess means that the insurance only responds after existing family health insurance has first responded to the claim. Accident insurance is a deterrent against lawsuits if it guarantees that the participant or parent will not have out-of-pocket medical bills. Now, this will take away much of the incentive for a parent or a participant to file a lawsuit, and that's what the general liability carrier wants. They want the accident policy to act as a shield. The available medical limits range from $25,000 to $250,000, and there are a number of deductible options. The premium charge is based on the number of player participants.
Well, that's interesting. I guess in some sports, obviously, some sports you have one player or three or four, and obviously in many of them you have, well, football, about 30, 40, 50 on a team. It's fascinating. Keep going.
All right, the general liability covers certain types of lawsuits alleging bodily injury, property damage, and personal and advertising injury. In the sports context, most of the lawsuits we see arise from either bodily injury to a player or to a spectator. Now, we offer a number of limit options ranging from $1 million to $5 million, as well as options for sex abuse and molestation coverage.
Let me ask something. What is advertising injury?
Advertising injury would be, for example, if a sports organization were to disparage a competing sports organization in its advertising materials.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm learning. Keep going. Here's more of them.
Right. Yep. We also offer options for non-owned and hired auto liability, for 24/7 premises coverage, which would be in cases if a facility is owned by our client, or if the client is under a long-term lease where they're responsible for what happens on the facility 24/7. Also note that there are a number of exclusions that should be avoided in the sports context, such as the dangerous athletic participants exclusion. There are a number of other exclusions that we avoid also. And the premium charge is based on the number of participants by sport and age group, or by the revenues in the event we're talking about a sports facility.
Got it. Okay, a little bit more liability here, but different angle here.
All right, so there's a second type of liability policy needed. It's called directors and officers liability. Now, this policy covers a different type of lawsuit than what the general liability policy covers. The D&O policy covers allegations of discrimination based on race, sex, age, or handicap, wrongful suspension or termination of staff or participants, also failure to follow your own rules or bylaws when making an administrative decision, and it also covers other violations of state, federal, or constitutional law. And you can see that you can buy a limit of $1 million for as little as $300 per organization.
God, you could not buy it, could you, if you were doing it, if you were an officer or director? So inexpensive, I would think.
That's correct.
Okay. What's the next?
The crime policy covers financial loss due to insider embezzlement or insider theft of the sports organization's property. It also covers outsider theft of cash, such as gate receipts or registration receipts on sign-up day. You can buy a $25,000 limit for a flat charge of $200.
Do you see that sort of crime stuff happening a lot?
We get a lot of phone calls from sports organizations where they have insider embezzlement. It happens quite frequently.
I'll be darned. You just don't hear much about it. That's very interesting. Equipment.
And yes, finally, the equipment policy covers a loss to the sports organization if their own equipment is damaged, and that could be sports equipment, field maintenance equipment, concession equipment, fences, scoreboards, bleachers, and small storage sheds. The major perils insured against are fire, wind, theft, and vandalism, and the rate is $2 per $100 of replacement cost value.
I got it. Well, you know, one of the reasons that we wanted you to be the representative of the sports is that you offer other services that we haven't seen before. And tell us about those.
Well, we pay a lot of attention to developing risk management content that's user-friendly for volunteers and that actually gets the job done. And so you can see the list on this page. We concentrate a lot on contractual transfer of risk to other parties, such as through waiver release agreements. And we also have a number of custom risk management templates, which can be easily adopted by a sports organization to document their risk management programs and to provide training to their staff on how to recognize and respond to risk. And I can tell you that simple risk management does make a huge difference in the reduction of injuries and lawsuits.
Well, if anybody should know, it's you, John, and I really appreciate this short but meaningful presentation. Obviously, the next step for the people who are listening is to go to their local agent who's sponsoring this. Just go down and click on Contact Us, and it'll take you right to your USA Insurance Network agency in your area, or the one who's sponsoring, and you'll be able to find out a lot more about it and certainly be handled. So, John, I want to thank you again for your help and for your constant thoughts about how sports can make it wonderful for everybody if they're properly insured. Okay.
Thanks, George.